At 7 o'clock, and I'll call the May 28th, 2019 school board meeting to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Mrs. Mayor, if you do the roll call, please.
I sure will. Tom Cruise.
He is excused.
I am here. Stein.
Here.
Rebecca Reber.
Here.
Anita Shakosinski.
Here.
Lizzie Paff.
Here.
Gary Dunlap.
Here.
And Cheryl Hancock.
Here. So with 6 of the 7 school board members present, I would declare a quorum. Approval of the agenda, I would note that it has been distributed and sent to the local media. With this in mind, are there any changes to the agenda at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as published. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Hi.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Public participation, I do not have any cards at this time. So then we'll move on to District Administrator's report. Dr. Mueller.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank our high school counselors and Tim Bakeberg, and they worked with some of our local youth apprenticeship students and businesses in the area, and they had their first career signing day. So kind of like how you go and you sign to play for maybe the Badgers for football, they were signing to move on to with their careers in their life. So that was a really exciting, and maybe you saw that on the news, just wanted to share about that. We had a great graduation on Saturday, graduated 289 students from Holmen High School once again, and it was definitely, if you were there, a packed lacrosse center, so it was very exciting. Wish them well, the seniors. And for those of us still around, our last day of school is June 7th. We have a early release day due to the cold weather days that we had. And last, I just wanted to mention our boys golf and our baseball teams were MVC champs this year, so congratulations to them. And then also in your board packet, you'll find our after drill action reports for Prairie View and Viking. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on to recognition and thank you, Dr. Chris.
Yeah, we have some special guests with us this evening. We have 5 Holmen High School students that were recently recognized for their campaign to change platform, I guess you could say, in video that they had done. So if they could come forward, and they have a little presentation for you. I don't want to say much more, and introduce themselves. Just come on up over to the table here. And then there's some microphones too, if you want to grab those so we can hear you clear. And
So the thousands of the people in the viewing public can
Yeah.
see you. So there is a microphone on that table there,
Yeah,
if you
sorry.
want to grab that.
yeah, you're Facebook living, on YouTube, or Facebook living, YouTube live, sorry. I don't know if you knew that, yeah. Oh. All right. Oh. You can go test. Kelsey's not shy. Test one.
Hi, my name's Asia. I'm a freshman.
My name's Kelsey. I'm a freshman.
My name's Gracie, and I'm a freshman.
My name is Aiden, sophomore.
My name's Lizzie, and I'm a freshman.
They're going to talk.
Okay.
So this competition was about like the healthy habits of emotional well-being, and then the 5 habits are taking care of yourself, like practicing hygiene and just genuinely doing things that are good for your like health, and then checking in with a trusted adult, whether it's like a counselor or your parent. Engaging is like talking with your friends, and then relaxing is just taking time to like calm down. And then the 5 signs, which Asia will explain.
So the 5 signs, if you notice any of these in like a person, this is when you should reach out. For example, if you notice someone is, becoming hopeless, like not really participating in class as much or not really caring about their grades, this is when you need to step in and talk to them and ask if they're right.
And as you can see, this event was heavily sponsored by numerous groups across the city.
So Miss Rish, she shared the contest information with Miss Johnson and us, and it fit with our computer app goals, balancing our technology usage, and it find different ways to disconnect and practicing different ways to improve the emotional health.
The award ceremony was hosted by Brittany Lake of News 19.
And the awards presentation, Mrs. Lacrosse Oktoberfest spoke about her platform of Warrior Not Warrior Conquering Mental Illness. And we had a big dinner as a group, and then we all brought awareness to mental health.
So why was this important to us and what was our message? Basically, we know that everyone's busy, so we just wanted to kind of showcase some simple ways to perform self-care.
I'm so sorry.
Self-care is important because it allows you to have a healthy relationship with yourself as well as others. Self-care can be as simple as reading a book or doing something you love, like playing basketball. Self-care can also be surrounding yourself with people who make you happy. It's about being able to relax and take time for yourself.
Is that buffering?
There is one 4-word question you must absolutely never ask a man if you want him to be your boyfriend or your...
Alrighty.
The technology gods are not with us tonight.
Okay, so with our video, our message was you never really know what someone's going through, whether if they seem happy on the outside or not. If you practice empathy, you can see what people are going through in their shoes. And then having someone to talk to is important because people tend to overthink about things emotionally, and it's just good to have someone to talk to because then they can help you calm down and realize you're overthinking stuff.
Doing a great job, Nick.
So this is just our picture. We got 3rd place.
Yay.
And then for my group, or our group, we got 2nd place.
Yay.
Okay, so our group, we raised $600 for the Holmen School District and for all the kids who struggle with mental health, and for their awareness.
Are there any questions? So what was the biggest thing you learned by doing this project? Either about the technology or about the...
Well, I realized that it's easier to do this type of thing with friends because it's hard to film a video by yourself. And yeah, if you don't have the extra person, it's just hard to make that because you can't really show the relationship between people.
Excellent. May I say something?
Yes, Barb.
Do you find that the process has made you more mindful about yourself, or maybe even noticed things in peers or family members that you hadn't noticed previously?
Well, I know that I tend to overthink a lot, so realizing that I need to have someone to talk to, it kind of just calms you down because, you overthink silly things that make you upset for no reason, and that really helps if you realize that you're overthinking it and talk to someone and they can talk some sense into you.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for representing Holmen so well and for coming this evening. We always enjoy hearing from students, so.
We get one more picture. There you go.
Jill? Well, thank you again. Thank you for
Thank
coming
you for
tonight.
your awareness.
Okay.
Well, as they're making their way back, just first, thank you once again. It's great to bring awareness, especially during our Mental Health Awareness Month and to go the extra distance as students, and that's just amazing, so thanks. Also just wanted to thank St. Elizabeth Parish in Holmen for their donation of $3,250. Their generosity is greatly appreciated, and that will go to good use in classrooms. And then also we did, I should say Beth Hobbs did a great job and received a grant from the Transportation Department from the Wisconsin DNR for worth $23,366.25 for diesel emission reduction program. And that has to do with the purchasing of our propane buses, and it helps with that. So great job.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Then moving on to reports and discussion, academic and career planning update. See Jill and Tim coming to the front.
Yeah.
This is not a consent agenda item, it's just informational annual update.
Don't hit.
I didn't play for that.
We don't need any more YouTube.
No, we don't.
Okay, so every year we come to you and we update our academic and career plan. And this year, we have a couple of exciting things that have happened, and Dr. Mueller already mentioned one of them, the career signing day, so that was really exciting. So I'm gonna play, let's see if this works.
This is James, and this is Darla. James is really motivated in school. He loves science. Darla lives for cars. One thing they have in common is that their futures will work out better if they can get a little bit of their brain to start thinking right now about what they want to do. And that's why academic and career planning matters. You've probably heard about ACP by now. Did you know it's designed to help every single student and to involve the whole school? It's part of the whole student approach. Every educator has the opportunity to mentor kids. James' math teacher asks him a few good questions. It helps him learn to devote that brain space to identifying his personal strengths and interests within the field of science. Once James knows some careers he's interested in, teachers and community members start helping him think of ways to explore them while he's still in school. He acquires more confidence as he takes these baby steps into the working world. By the time he gets to his senior year, he's even going to try a youth apprenticeship in biotechnology at a place suggested by one of his teachers. And he never would have thought of it if it weren't for his teachers thinking about ACP. It turns out James wants to focus on different avenues, and if it weren't for the ACP process in middle and high school, who knows how many years and dollars it would have taken him and his family to figure that out and move him on to his next exploration. Now, Darla benefits from her school's career fair, where she talks to different professionals in the automotive field. She arranges a job shadow with an automotive technician, and she decides to explore automotive and aviation engineering. She even learns that for her goals, it'll help to have good literacy and math skills too. Schools offer a lot of these options already, but it's the comprehensive nature of ACP that makes the most difference. It's more than the sum of its parts. With the help of many educators at their schools, James and Darla are not only motivated, but they're planning for college and career, personalizing their education and their experiences to align to their own sense of purpose, their unique visions for their future. No wonder it's part of the agenda of State Superintendent Tony Evers.
You know, we want to make sure that every child is a graduate, college and career ready. And in order to make that happen in the state of Wisconsin, we have to make sure that academic and career planning is part of every child's education.
This website has more about ACP in Wisconsin and tools to help you make the most of it in your school.
Okay, so that's just a little bit about what ACP is. In the elementary school, we pretty much look into careers, kind of making kids aware of the careers that they may pursue in the future. A lot of that is done through the developmental counseling and also done within the classroom as well. They've have different people come in and talk about their careers with the students. Once they're in middle school and high school, they're exploring and planning. And then once they get further down in high school, they're preparing. They're either looking at a career path or college path. So what they said in the video is ACP is about decision making, not the decision. So really walking through what are your interests and what are you good at and what types of things might you want to do in the future, and not just saying, well, I'm going to be this, and not looking at kind of what else is around you. Like you heard, someone was looking into automotive and also aviation. So really taking a look at a holistic view of the student and not just the one thing. So Tim's going to talk a little bit about this year in review at the high school.
Perfect. Hi, good evening. Always nice to visit and share what's going on at the high school with you. So at the high school this year, continuation with what we've been doing in years past, career cruising is the state-sponsored platform that we use to help students do that exploration and that preparation. So we start out in September during advisory lessons. They're all taking an interest inventory. Sometimes they groan when they get to be juniors and seniors and they don't really want to do that, but we realize they change with each experience, so it does help them to try to figure out what maybe would be an interest area and something they could consider looking at a little further. Learning styles inventories we use. Goal setting is very common, and that's personal goals, that's academic goals, and that's post-secondary goals. So they set goals every fall. Once they get to be juniors and seniors, especially, we look at the school search. There's some wonderful tools in career cruising that really helps them focus in on the different types of schools that they might be looking at if they're looking at a 2-year or 4-year school. What we did last fall with our freshmen, and it ties really in with PBIS as well, is we have business speakers come in and they talk employment skills. So if you want to work for us, what do you need to do? How do you need to act? What are our expectations? And we relate that back to what your teachers expect of you in the classroom. So it's kind of a nice piece there. Our sophomores and juniors go to the Career Expo and College Fair. This past fall, we went to both the La Crosse Center and did the WEF, or the Wisconsin Education Fair, where they bring in schools from throughout the Midwest. And for the first time this year, we took all our sophomores over to Southeast Tech in Winona, and they really do a nice job of interacting with the students and looking at all the different career pathways. It's very hands-on, engaging. We'd like to spend more time if we can. We ran out of time is what we found out this year. So we're gonna make some adjustments with that. And then our seniors do the reality fair. And I'm sure you've heard of that, but that takes a lot of hands and a lot of volunteers, but it's really a wonderful experience for them to realize what it takes just to survive in this world for a day, for a year, for a month. And we even had therapy dogs there this year to help our students cope when they got, handed off a ticket from Officer Hickey. So, and additional, our ACP Day, that was our second year of ACP Day. Really have grown with that, with our freshman business tours. You can see a few pictures, the pizza in the top right. We really have to thank all our supporting businesses. They fed every one of our freshmen and all of their chaperones, gave them tours, really interacted with them. New this year, we asked the students what their interests were and tried to match up the tours with what their focus was. Sophomores did college tours, either to the La Crosse area or Winona. Juniors, and well, it's good, they did the state ACT testing, but they were testing all day. And then seniors did a wellness servant leadership activities. So you see Zumba up there, a keynote speaker, all sorts of neat activities for them as well. And then, of course, that career letter of intent signing. It really, I thought, was just a wonderful day to highlight our connections with our local businesses. And what I found most unique and rewarding this year was all 5 of those seniors each had a different career path in a different area, from a pharmacy tech to culinary arts to manufacturing and IT. So it was really a nice display of what our students have for interest. So a great event that will repeat. Oh, I can do this.
You want to do this?
I can do this unless you want to.
No, you can.
So next year, Zelo, I don't know why they named it that, but career cruising is going to be called Zelo. I'm not impressed with the name, but I am impressed with the software and the updates that are coming to it. We got kind of a sneak peek of what it will look like from the student side, and that will be starting this fall. Updated interface with better features. It's more user-friendly, and I think students are going to interact and engage with it more than this outdated platform that Career Cruising currently has. Addition of Inspire software, Inspire 7 Rivers, that's that business component where we're working right now. The Zelo folks are working right now to get all our local businesses to sign on to be coaches, to be sponsoring businesses. So what we can do, hopefully starting next year, is we can have a freshman, for example, that's interested in mechanical engineering go on and see who are all our mechanical engineering firms out in the La Crosse area. What businesses hire mechanical engineers, and they can actually reach out to have a job coach. They can have they can do a tour. They can ask a question. It's going to be a great way to connect our businesses with our school. We're going to continue to work on career pathways, try to figure out what classes should students be taking if they want to be somebody in natural resources, for example. What's that career path, or what's that course curriculum look like? We want to keep integrating ACP into the high school coursework. This is not a counselor thing. Counselors are an important part of ACP, but definitely not the end all. Personal finance, computer apps, health classes are all starting to fuse in different components of it, and that's great. Students need to hear the message from different teachers and different people. I think that's great. And then we want to just keep building on those partnerships with our businesses. And interestingly enough, they are reaching out to us and asking how they can help, and can we please bring them students and good workers. So it's been a good partnership.
All right, this year in review for the middle school, they are continuing the use of career cruising, and in the future it will be Zelo. The class of 2024 has begun completing interest inventories during academy. The remainder of the students will complete in the fall of 2019. They are continuing to have individual planning conferences. 8th graders have self-identified interest in the STEM cluster. They attended a field trip to the train company, and they also attended the career fair in December 2018. And I'm not sure, Mr. Vogel, is this the first year they did I can't remember, the 8th grade career fair? They've done that before, okay. And then the 6th grade students completed the learning style inventory on career cruising. Next steps for the middle school, they will be updating what they do based on the release of Zelo. They all went to the training in April or early May, and we'll be having another one in August to roll out really all of its capabilities. So they'll be revising and refining Career Exploration Academy, looking at opportunities for universal ACP in 6th and 8th grade, and then adding more to classes to share about careers in their field. Any questions?
Any questions?
I have one.
Here.
I can see it's like focusing students on paths, career paths as they move forward. What do you do for follow-up on that 20% of the kids that you don't reach, that don't have a career path picked out, and they, I don't know what to do.
The undecided?
Yeah, they aren't excited. They
Yeah,
just
sure, and pick your grade or your class, and you're going to have that. I think that's what ACP really is about, is giving them those opportunities to explore, and providing the opportunity. They don't all necessarily want to engage and participate, but we plant those seeds. But I also think focusing on the other career paths and the other post-secondary opportunities beyond the 4-year schools and the 2-year schools, hopefully is going to start helping, looking at apprenticeships and some alternative pathways to learn past high school, and validating those and acknowledging those will hopefully reduce those undecideds a little bit.
You keep offering those students that don't have a lot of interest or a lot of motivation for some of these programs, you keep putting things in front of them, hopefully you'll get something that catches.
Hopefully something sticks eventually, right? And that's the hard part of education, is you don't know when the seed that you plant is actually going to come in to grow. But
And that's why ACP is so important, because we do try to infuse that throughout the curriculum, throughout the classes. So it's not just a counselor thing, it's not just one of the tours. They're doing it throughout the different classes throughout the middle school and high school, so they have some experience.
That's one thing that I've seen with the difference globally between the United States education and the rest of the world, is they start career pathing their students a lot earlier than the United States have in the past. And even in grade school and middle school, they start sending those kids down a path to
Pick a track.
pick a track, and they go down the path. And I know he notices a big difference between us and them, so I'm kind of glad to see that, and getting the kids a little more focused as they go down the road. It's good to see. That's always been a big difference between us and the rest of the world.
I think our businesses appreciate that too locally.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
And then elementary science curriculum.
Okay. Thanks. You guys can come too. I know those are science.
Well, good evening. We're excited to be here to share with you some of the great work that has been going on with our elementary science committee. But first, we'll do a couple of introductions. So first, we actually have, this is Kelly Schmitz. She is our instructional services supervisor, making her board report debut. And then we have a couple of members of our science committee too that I will let them introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Manetsky, and I am a kindergarten representative, and I'm from Viking Elementary.
I'm Jody Hoshay. I represent 3rd grade for Sandwich.
So each year I come before you and ask you to adopt our standards, and I'll actually be doing that again now next month. So you already know that we have adopted the next generation science standards. So tonight's report really is about what we've been doing at the elementary to help our students achieve those standards. So this really started in 2016-17 when our middle school and high school science departments completed the curriculum cycle. And then just last year, elementary came on board with starting to unpack the NGSS standards, which look kind of different from what we had worked with before. So just last year then, the team finished unpacking those standards, and then this year began looking at different resources that we could use to achieve those standards. So this year, towards the end of this year now, our resources have been purchased, and we've started with our staff development with those. And so we'll dig into that a little bit more right now.
So the next generation science standards were adopted, and it's really a great way for us to get in depth, as Tim and Jill were just talking about science related activities and careers. This is what really lets kids do that. And they built it on 3 big things: cross-cutting concepts, which are really the domains of science, the science and engineering practices, which are embedded into all of the different cross-cutting concepts, which is scientific inquiry and investigation, and discipline core ideas, which are multiple domains of science that kind of overlap and spiral. And so our K-5 elementary units, we've looked at those 3 big areas and divided them into these different units associated with standards, and they hit all of our science domains. And I think it aligns nicely to where the kids will be going in middle school and high school. There's a good alignment there. So once we kind of had our units unpacked and standards ready, we looked at different resources, as Kim was saying. And we had a science fair here in September where we had 7 different science companies here where teachers could come and talk to representatives, get samples, and pilot different programs throughout the course of the school year. Those are those 7 that we kind of looked at. And then as they did that, they had to kind of critique or evaluate each of those different resources. And the three big things that they look for are content. Is it standards-based aligned? What's the depth of the science content? What's the rigor? Is it appropriate for grade level? Is it applicable to the real world? Then the second thing they look at is instructional design. Obviously, is it engaging kids? Is it active learning? Can we use it with multiple different subjects? And then technical design, is it something that's appealing to kids? Is it easy? Is it engaging? While they did that, they then came together as a K-5 science district curriculum team to look at all of that, and we decided that K-3 best fit after those evaluations mystery science, and grades 4-5 went with FOSS Next Generation Kits. And we've had some training, as Kim had talked about. K-3 came together on May 8th and aligned units with the resources and kind of got ready for our beginning of the year. And 4-5 just had their staff development last week with a FOSS representative walking through how FOSS looks very different than their the previous one we used to have. So we really had some in-depth training already for that. And we should be ready to go in the fall with support throughout the whole school year, of course, for our teachers.
Any questions?
Any questions? Kate?
The program that is K3 and then and FOSS and 4-5, is a transition needed? Are the two different? I mean, obviously they must be compatible, but I'm just wondering about that because both of those have complete like K through 5, right?
Right.
But that wasn't chosen. One wasn't chosen. Can you just address that a little
Sure.
bit?
So that really goes back to how we impact our standards. So we decided that our first step was really to get a really good understanding of what NGSS looks for in each of the grade levels. So we went in looking for specific things in each of the grade levels. So we had priority standards that we had already mapped out. So then it was a matter of looking at which of those resources that we had listed up there best met those needs in those particular areas, and that's just what happened to fit best for us.
Thanks.
Okay. Barb?
Yeah, and mystery science, I'm only familiar with the digital component. Is there a hands-on component with that piece, like similar to the FOSS?
Would you guys like to answer?
Yeah. So there, it is. It is more online digital based though. But I'd say there's about 6 mysteries per content area. And within there, I would say about 2 to 4, depending on the unit, are hands-on, inquiry-based. The kids are testing with things, trying things out, problem solving, kind of forming those hypotheses and conclusions. So it's a mixture of both.
Okay, good.
I piloted both FOSS and the mystery science.
Nice.
I piloted 4.
Jody was a go-getter for us this last year.
And both were really good products.
Good.
FOSS was really expensive.
Yes.
And given some of the time limitations that we have at the primary level, it just seemed really fiscally responsible to go with a really good program that offered a good balance, that didn't come with such a huge price tag. FOSS is like the gold standard of science resources, but I really felt mystery science did an excellent job.
Nice.
And the nice thing is, we look at maybe 30 minutes a day for our unit time, and then what we can infuse into our reading and writing workshop times too. So it just seemed a good fit given all of our circumstances at the primary level.
It has a really nice opportunity for integration into multiple content areas, which sets it up very nicely.
Well, I want to thank you, and thank you to the classroom educators for participating in this. I know in 2016, 2017, that bothered me that there, we didn't have elementary curriculum, and I know that was a time where there was a lot of other things. The math curriculum, for example, was coming on board, so understood that, but I really appreciate tonight's presentation and the all of the work that you did, not only to research all this, but then implementing it. And high performer Jody for
It's an amazing
different models. So thank you for doing that. But yes, it's just another example of the quality we have in the district. So we really appreciate that. So, and thank you, Kim, for leading this initiative. So, okay, all right. Thank you so much. So then we I think have the same folks here to
We're up
talk
here
about
for a
limited
while.
term instruction coach.
Yes, so we are looking at a limited term instructional coach. Really how this started is with, and I'm sure you know this from past, Onalaska, GUT, and Holmen have worked together with the peer review and mentor grant before from DPI. And we're kind of reviving it this year. We didn't do it in the past few years. We're reviving it this year. And we looked at what do we need, and we, as a consortium, we said our beginning teachers are probably our focus. So we really came together and said, let's write the grant for 0.25 FTE that concentrates only on first year teachers between the 3 districts to really support them through that very first year of teaching. Our mentor program will continue as is, as well as our onboarding and our support seminars throughout the year. So we will still have our Holmen School District mentor program as well.
So then, one day I had popped into Jill's office and we were brainstorming, and we had this 0.25 position, and we were thinking, how could we make this? 0.25 is a difficult position to hire. So how could we maximize this? So we did some brainstorming, and our proposal would then be to use some of our title funds, Title II and Title IV, to increase this another 0.5, and then focus that on an area of need that we have, which is intervention and instructional coaching at our high school. So we would like to package that together, of course, contingent on those funds coming through the both sets of grants.
Okay. Any questions on this? I see that this is on the next board's agenda. So any questions? Now would be a good time.
I just have a question with the, how challenging do you think it will be to find someone with the qualities needed, you know, to be able to coach at the high school level and then coach any beginning, because I'm assuming this is any level first year teacher, right?
So we'll be looking for somebody who obviously has a number of years of experience, so would be able to lend that to that expertise to our brand new teachers. I think we still have to iron out the details of it. We're thinking probably someone with a 316 so that they could do interventions at the high school and do some instructional coaching as well. So that's why I think by increasing it to a 0.75, our pool is going to open up greatly compared to a 0.25.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Any others? All right. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Oh, we have one more for you.
Oh, yes. I was going to say.
Last but not least.
It's about time, right?
So tonight I have 2 memorandums of understanding for your consideration. Both of them are with institutions that we have worked with before. The first one is Luther College. If we would renew this MOU with them, this would be for our clinicals and student teachers for the upcoming year. And then the second is Educate Wisconsin. And this is a certification for administrators and teachers in education. It's actually an alternative certification program that works with St. Mary's universities for their field placements. So this MOU, if approved, would remain in effect until December 31st, 2020. So we're asking for your consent as approved, or as presented.
And again, any questions? This is on the next meeting's agenda for approval. Okay. All right. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Melissa is here with her entourage. Are you sure they don't want to come? Oops. Well, they have been very well behaved.
It's the food and the books. Okay, so this evening I have 4 pieces of language for the employee handbook to bring forward. These would all go into effect July 1st if approved at the next board meeting. So the first one that we'll be going through is the professional compensation and curriculum pay. So this is something that we've been looking at and has been brought forward. We've done a recent review of some peer districts and found that we've fallen behind in compensation related to the work done for curriculum development. So what we've done is made an increase in the curriculum writing and facilitation of staff development for our educators. That will go from $18 to $23 per hour. And then we've pulled out attendance at staff development events and left that at the $18 an hour. rate of pay. So really differentiating those two, those actually doing the curriculum work and facilitating those staff developments versus the sitting at the professional development opportunities. So that is the first change. The next language piece is paid vacation. With this one, what you'll see is that we've given an opportunity for some new candidates to be able to bring in some additional vacation. We've recently, in the last few years, found that it's been difficult to hire some of our excellent candidates that we've had. They're not able to leave the current profession they have based on the amount of vacation leave they receive. The 5 days coming into the district wasn't enough for them. So we have come up with an opportunity that if they already receive 10 days of vacation, that they can start here with 10 days of vacation. So that is what the new vacation credited language applies for.
And what is the increase then?
Up to 10 days in
So
their
they have
first
10 days, but
So right now they receive 5.
Right.
If they have up to 10 days right now, they can come in with 10 days and stay with 10 days until they increase past the 10 days here in Holmen.
Those are year-round employees.
Okay.
Correct. And this, while effective July 1st, we would go back 2 years to employees who have been hired within the last 2 years and allow them that opportunity as well to increase their current vacation allocation. The next piece is unpaid leave of absence. These changes that you see reflected here are actually current practice. They're not a change in the language, but just documenting our current practice. And the changes really give greater benefit opportunities for those staff who may be on an unpaid leave of absence and those benefits that they have while on their leave. So the current language really just reflected health or dental, and we allow employees to continue all of their current benefits while on an unpaid leave. So. And the last piece is a statutory change. So this change was made a while ago in the statute, and while we've been in compliance with this in the district, we missed the opportunity to make the change in the handbook language. So just a quick update from changing a month based on a statutory change in the state.
Okay, are there any questions? Well, thank you very much. These made it through the Personnel and Governance Committee and recommended to come here, especially the vacation thing. In the professional communities, so often you see 2 weeks and even 21 days is a standard that I see that people, and especially millennials, their time off, they will take a lesser paying job per hour if they have more vacation days. It's just one of the pulls that they have. And so when I know we're not there yet where we're not getting the numbers of applicants, but that is one area where there's a real desire and interest.
Yeah, and that is, we have lost some really excellent candidates, and you hate to see those people go when we have that language in effect. So this is a great opportunity.
Thank you for looking out for that. So those also will be on the agenda on the 10th.
Correct, thank you.
Okay, and then server and storage system bids. Greg, it almost looked like sewer in storage. I have to get my eyes checked. Why is Greg talking about the sewer? Okay. Quite the technology night, and this is Keith?
Keith Jensen is our network administrator, and this is a fairly heavily technical purchase and purchase decision process, so we involve Keith heavily in it.
Because we're so up on that, we're gonna...
The decision that we make here has a big impact on his day-to-day life here as he manages the system really once it's put into place and through the process of working with the vendor chosen to get it in place. So what we're looking at here is the server and storage system that runs all systems that we still keep in-house in the district, things we haven't outsourced. In the IT world, things you outsource and have run elsewhere they're in the cloud. Things we run here are local systems, and we still have many local systems that are critical to our operations, our business processes, and various educational solutions that run on these systems. We're replacing hardware that is about 6 years old at this point and is ready to be refreshed to make sure we still have reliable, well-functioning systems that perform at the speeds we need and don't go offline at times that cause inconveniences to users across the district. We put out an RFP back in early April. It had taken some time to look over bids that we got back from this since then, and we're recommending that we go with a Nutanix solution from PDS of Madison, Wisconsin. Keith can talk a bit more about the process that we came to make this decision and why we chose that bid.
Okay, so in the RFP, we kind of labeled like this is what we're looking for in our system, particular parts and kind of what we wanted to get out of it. So then we did have a few different companies propose different options for us. The Nutanix system though seemed to cover them the best in just, you know, the speeds, how much storage there would be, and just kind of like in redundancy in case something did happen, how well the system would be able to handle that and recover from it.
And in addition to all of that, it was also the low bid. So not a difficult decision, though for a purchase like this, we wouldn't hesitate recommending an alternate option if we felt it to be the best and most stable, most reliable, best performing system we could put in place. But to do what we need to do and keep our systems running well for the loads of services we place on them, we feel this is the system that will best fit those needs for the cost. Any questions?
Are there any questions? All right, thank you so very much. And again, this will be on next week's or next meeting agenda. So the next item is consent items, and we have 10 items on the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented unless you want to have something pulled out and considered separately.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve as presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda items as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Then we'll move on to board member reports and discussion and ask for any committee reports or comments that you'd like to make. And Kate, we will begin with you.
No, I don't have any comments.
Okay, Barb?
Just an exciting time of the year for the district, but also as a mom of a senior. Just, you know, the band concerts and the scholarship banquet, what amazing partnerships this district has with the community. Every time I've been to one of those, it just blows me away, the beauty and the heartfelt memorials that are offered by families, and just, it's a very moving event. And then graduation, of course, just beautiful to see all these kids and very excited to see what they'll do in their future, so.
Thank you. Rebecca?
No, I don't have anything.
And Anita?
I have nothing.
Boy, Gary?
Gee.
He's like, I gotta
I'll have
something.
two dozen things myself. First, I was glad to see the instructional coach presentation and the career planning program upgrade. I think those are both needed and both of them good things. We're always trying to figure out a way to measure people, and the career planning program is something that I've been thinking about for a long time after seeing the global way people are educating. And also congrats to all the graduates. It was great to see them all there. One number that kind of grabbed me when I was there, when he mentioned that there was 75 students in that class that had a 3.75 grade point average or better. That's a big number, and that says something about how we're educating kids. And also I'd like to put a kudos in for the band. What a great band we have. And those guys are so good. They sounded so professional out there and so right on. And then I want to make sure I said goodbye to Jay, my buddy. He had a large positive impact in the school district since the day he started. And one of the reasons why we're as good a school district as we are and as where we are financially is because of some of the things Jay's done. And just want to personally thank you for all that and wish you nothing but the best, and make sure you don't forget us up here. Come and see us once in a while. You can always stay at my house. I don't. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Gary. And Lizzie?
Well, the high school is feeling a bit more empty than usual because of graduation. As you said, the band did an absolutely amazing job playing Pomp and Circumstance through 9 times. That is some very special skills. But graduation was absolutely amazing, and I'm so proud of everyone who graduated. That's such a huge accomplishment. But also, at this board meeting tonight, the guidance counselors brought attention to career planning, and we all heard what they said, but from the students' perspective, that is such an important part, and I don't think that it's focused on as much as it should be, and hopefully this new program really integrates more of career-focused things into the high school. A lot of juniors now are coming to the point, having to apply for universities and really think about their future, so having a program like that will really help these future students to be able to think ahead, instead of coming into their senior year kind of freaking out a little bit. But also, Mental Health Month is coming to a close, and mental health is so incredibly important. I talked about this the last board meeting, but I just wanted to remind you all how hard our guidance counselors work to make sure that every student is mentally healthy and stable and all of those things. So I just want to applaud them, and if any guidance counselors are in the room, they really do so much work, and the schedules for next year came out today, so those people are really very busy.
Yes, they are. Well, thank you. Yes, this time of year is quite a great one to celebrate, and I enjoy it as well. I want to mention that we'd like to have a workshop in July, and so Stacy, we may need to send out a couple dates in July, see if there's any opportunity for folks to come together. Part of that is at my last Student Achievement and Learning Committee, we had a presentation by the high school administration regarding grading, and just some of the work that they've done, which is very impressive, but also I think will be a good conversation for us to have. We spent about an hour and 20 minutes on it, of our hour and a half meeting, but we all at the table, this is why we're here, is student learning, and how do we appropriately measure student learning, and just to have some of that background. So we may talk about that, and then also board norms, a little bit about meetings and those sorts of things we would be touching on at that meeting in July. Barb, I know I saw you at the retirement social that we have. Thank you for coming. It was a great celebration of over 500 years of service by staff who are here, and it's always fun to see the building administrators and the technology that we had of live stream video of someone recognizing their staff. It's just kind of a nice touch to see all of that and to be able to wish those educators and all staff in all staff categories well on their retirement. And then at graduation, I just want to say thank you to Kate and Gary and Lizzie for making time. I know it's a busy weekend. It's very difficult for graduation for everyone to get there, but I do appreciate that we had a good showing again. To congratulate, we had 2 former student on board members that were graduating, so that was kind of fun to see them walk across the stage as well. Andrew did a speech. He was the student speaker, and so it was fun to see that. And just to Mr. Sackett and his team, what a nice event. It was very well done, and just a celebration of all. I know that your team, so let your team know that we appreciate all that they do to make that go as well as it does, and to be so seamless, and just such a nice celebration of the students. So I think that's all I had. I would just mention that We will be forming committees in the next month or two. I'd like to have those done by July 1st. So if you want to change your committee, let me know. Otherwise, you may very well find yourself on the same board committee that you're on now. I will mention that I'm going to be out of town the last 2 weeks in June, so I will be missing the June 24th meeting.
I've been practicing in the mirror.
So, just so you know. And we do have the June 10th and June 24th meetings are our upcoming board meetings. So, if there's nothing else to come before us tonight, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay?
Nay.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Gary.